another world, another time, in the age of wonder. 1,000 years ago, this land was green and good, until the crystal cracked. For a single piece was lost, a shard of the crystal. Then strife began, and two new races appeared. The cruel Skeksis, the gentle mystics. Now the Skeksis gather in the sacred chamber, where the crystal hangs above a shaft of air and fire. Today, once more, they will replenish themselves, cheat death again, through the power of their source, their treasure, their fate, the Dark Crystal.
The Dark Crystal is a puppet-animated dark fantasy film released in 1982 by Jim Henson and Frank Oz. The film was produced by British company ITC Entertainment along with Henson Associates. The film's protagonist, Jen, is raised by the noble race called the Mystics. The Mystics inform him that he is the last survivor of his own race, the Gelflings. He sets out to try to find a shard of the Dark Crystal, which is a powerful gem that once provided balance to the world of Thra. After the crystal was broken, the evil Skeksis used sinister means to gain control. Jen believes that he can repair the Dark Crystal and bring peace back to the world, if he can find the remaining shard. Before the Dark Crystal.
It's time to get things started on the most sensational, inspirational, celebrational, motivational. This is what we call the Muppet Show! Green smoke.
Henson spent decades working in commercials and talk shows before the creation of the Muppets. His involvement in these commercials and talk shows led him to explore creativity with different puppets and puppeteering styles, ultimately leading to the widespread success of the Muppets. Henson and his team would go on to work full-time on Sesame Street. This opened up doors for the Henson team as they explored with short-form content that would premiere before Sesame Street.
What?
It is after the success of both the Muppets and Sesame Street that Henson and his staff would begin to think that they were typecasted as children's entertainment. Because of this, Henson would go on to create The Land of Gorch.
We're lovable. Never forget that, Scred.
A sketch series for Saturday Night Live. This gave Henson an adult audience, leading to jokes revolving around references to drug abuse, sexual activity, and the consumption of alcohol.
Far out.
It's just a crater.
Oh, wow, that was some smoke. What's happening?
Hey, Whis, is that you?
It never was, man. Never was.
His puppet design also changed for The Land of Gorch as Henson developed new technology for puppetry. It is the accumulation of all this that would lay the groundwork for the Dark Crystal. Inspiration for the Dark Crystal was largely drawn from British illustrator Brian Froud's works. Henson discovered Froud through his illustrations in Once Upon a Time. Froud's work was then used as a concept art for the creation of Henson's puppet creatures, most notably the Skeksis. Henson and Froud created Jim Henson's Creature Shop located in Hampstead, London. This was distinctly different from Henson's original puppet workshop located in New York City, as this shop worked to create new technology and concepts for puppets, along with creating work beyond puppets such as sets. The Jim Henson's Creature Shop would go on to facilitate the production of the Dark Crystal. Production in Britain. Using Froud's framework, Henson and Oz found themselves in London, surrounded by some of the best puppeteers in the world. In conjunction, Oswald Morris, the director of photography, Ralph Kempland, the editor, Trevor Jones, the composer, are all British, backed by the score provided by the London Symphony Orchestra. The film was shot at Elstree Studios, and exterior scenes were shot in the Scottish Highlands and Gordell Scar, North Yorkshire, England. Once filming was completed, the film's release was delayed after ITC Entertainment was sold to Robert Holmes à Court. Robert Holmes à Court was skeptical of the film's potential due to the bad reactions at the pre-screening. Because of this, the film had almost no advertisement and release until Henson bought it back from Holmes à Court and funded its release with his own money. Characterization through British imperialism. Characterization of the Skeksis is used to show greed and corruption and represents the imperializers, or in this case, Great Britain. They are hideous, but dressed with shapy opulence. It looks like the Renaissance court has fallen on hard times. Their layers of rich fabrics display detailed needlework and elaborate collars, cuffs, capes, and accessories, but everything seems somewhat worn and unkempt. Skeksis are the clear-cut villains, with podlings and gelflings being the oppressed or imperialized. 16 countries declared independence from Great Britain from 1970 to 1980. The Skeksis represent this brutal capitalistic mindset held by Great Britain in which other beings exist to be used to their advantage. The Mystics, however, represent the antithesis of this. They are kind to the gelfling, one with nature. The Skeksis and Mystics are intertwined, coming to Thra as one whole being, but separated unnaturally. Without one, the other would cease to exist. Because of this, the Mystics represent the bystander mindset. They have the ability to step in and stop the Skeksis, but rather than do that, they train the Gelfling to stop them. When Jen and Kira find the ancient Gelfling carvings that prophesy the fall of the Skeksis at the hands of the Gelfling, Jen points out that their actions were not in the prophecy. In doing so, he calls into question all the knowledge that came with the light of the Urskeks, not just their portents and prognostications, not just the science of colonizing, planet-destroying Skeksis, but also the benign and visually beautiful wisdom of the Mystics. In conclusion, this showcases that the Dark Crystal is based on imperialistic motifs and is inherently a British story, making The Dark Crystal a British film. Or we could have just said it got nominated for a BAFTA in Best Special Visual Effects, which makes it British. The world of Dark Crystal continues to live on 19 years after Henson's death and nearly 37 years after the original premiere of The Dark Crystal, and this is due to the continuation of the Jim Henson Company. In August 2019, Netflix put out a prequel series to The Dark Crystal, entitled The Dark Crystal: Age of Resistance. The show continues to hold its British ties as filming was done in the United Kingdom and features a wide array of British cast and crew.
And now our world is at risk from the darkening.
What is the darkening?
Behold.
I saw something. A vision.
You read too many stories.
No, this was real!
Everything the Skeksis ever told us was a lie. And now everyone and everything is at risk. Join me, so we may finally unite as one against our true foe, the Skeksis.
We are eternal!
The resistance is forming.
Are you sure about this? But I have hope.
Behold the power of the darkening!
Hope is fragile. Precious. Hope catches the light, splitting the darkness, revealing your destiny.
I don't think anything will ever be like it was again.
No. It will be better.